city council meeting to order. Prior to us calling it to order, if you have a cell phone, we'd appreciate it if you put it on silent or for silent at this time. At this time, we'll be led in prayer by Madam Clerk, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Madam Clerk.
O God Almighty, wisdom and justice, through whom authority is rightly administered, laws enacted and judgment decreed, assist us, we beseech thee, that the city council may be conducted in righteousness and be eminently useful to thy people over whom we preside. Amen.
Amen.
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, sorry. Madam Clerk.
Councilors Williams,
Here.
Morgan,
Present.
West,
Present.
Jacobs,
Present.
Mayor Kirkland.
Present. Move for the approval of minutes.
So moved.
I second.
Are there any questions? Madam Clerk.
Councilors Williams,
Yes.
Morgan,
Present.
West,
Oh, sorry. Yes.
West,
Yes.
Jacobs,
Yes.
Mayor Kirkland.
Yes. At this time, we open up the microphone for public comments. If you have public comments on any of the agenda items only, we ask that you go to the microphone, state your name, your address, and your public comments on agenda items only.
Can I make a comment?
Yes, Mr. Solicitor.
Yes. In addition to the general typical public comments today, in addition, we would like to draw the public's attention to item number 14 on the agenda, which has been handed out. Item number 14 is a resolution to authorize to approve a request for proposals of the Chester Water Authority. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put photocopies of that resolution on the podium today, and anyone who wants to review this and make comments now is ready, willing, and able to do so. Council will give the public some time to review that resolution, and then the floor is open to public comment, and I remind everyone that public comment is limited to 3 minutes pursuant to law. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Solicitor.
In addition to that, Your Honor, I just want to make the record clear that this particular resolution, which was duly discussed at an advertised deliberative meeting this past Monday, was also posted on the city website yesterday, and a copy of it was also emailed to the solicitor for the Water Authority yesterday as well.
Yes.
Yep.
I have a question
Ms. Ritchie,
related,
your name and your address.
related to the, Will Richan, 1704 Modesto Circle. I have a question related to item 14. As I understand it, the question is whether Aqua Pennsylvania should take over Chester's share of the Chester Water Authority or whatever. Aqua Pennsylvania is a subsidiary of Aqua America, whose headquarters are in Bryn Mawr. Do we know why the Better Business Bureau gives Aqua America a D- rating? Do we know?
No, Mr. Ritchie, I don't.
Would it be worth finding out why they give it a D- rating before proceeding with getting involved with them?
Mr. Richan, I don't see anything that's indicating that we're getting involved with Aqua or anyone else specifically.
I'm sorry.
I don't see where we're today getting involved with Aqua or anyone
Okay.
else specifically, right?
Right. All right.
Seeing no one else at the podium. Madam Clerk.
Resolution, whereas the following individuals have requested a handicap parking zone. Number 1, Sally Harris, 327 Carlin Street, Chester, PA, 19013. Number 2, Ronald Lee, 1422 West 7th Street, Chester, PA, 19013. Number 3, Felix Ortiz, 323 Rose Street, Chester, PA, 19013. Number 4, Charles Pagot, 225 East 23rd Street, Chester, PA, 19013. And number 5, John Towns, 1132 Meadow Lane, Chester, PA, 19013. Whereas after a thorough investigation by the Department of Streets and Public Improvements, it has been determined that the aforementioned individuals have met all of the required criteria and has a need for said handicap parking zone. Now therefore, the Council of the City of Chester does resolve that it does hereby authorize the proper city officials to install a handicap parking zone in the 300 block of Carlin Street, in the 1400 block of West 7th Street, in the 300 block of Rose Street, in the 200 block of East 23rd Street, and in the 1100 block of Meadow Lane in the city of Chester.
So moved.
Second.
Are there any questions? Madam Clerk?
Councilors Williams?
Yes.
Morgan?
Yes.
West?
Yes.
Jacobs?
Yes.
Mayor Kirkland?
Yes.
Resolution, the Council of the City of Chester does resolve that it does hereby appoint Madeleine Fossil to the position of temporary secretary in the Department of Public Safety, effective February 18, 2020, and until such time as the employee she is replacing on sick leave returns to work at the salary as provided in the annual appropriation ordinance with no benefits not to exceed 29.5 hours per week.
So moved.
I second.
Are there any questions? Madam Clerk?
Councilors Williams?
Yes.
Morgan?
Yes.
West?
Yes.
Jacobs?
Yes.
Mayor Kirkland?
Yes.
Resolution, the Council of the City of Chester does resolve that it does hereby appoint Stephen Gresky to serve as the Deputy Emergency Management Coordinator, Police Department, Department of Public Affairs, effective February 12, 2020.
So moved.
I second.
Are there any questions? Madam Clerk?
Councilors Williams?
Yes.
Morgan?
Yes.
West?
Yes.
Jacobs?
Yes.
Mayor Kirkland?
Yes.
Resolution, the Council of the City of Chester does resolve that it does hereby reapprove the following individuals as members of the Stormwater Authority of the City of Chester Board, terms to expire as stated. John Shelton, October 28, 2023, and William Raleigh, October 28, 2022.
So moved.
I second.
Are there any questions? Madam Clerk?
Councilors Williams?
Yes.
Morgan?
Yes.
West?
Yes.
Jacobs?
Yes.
Mayor Kirkland?
Yes.
Resolution, the Council of the City of Chester does resolve that it does hereby reappoint Portia West as a member of the Stormwater Authority of the City of Chester Board to fill the expired term of Latifah Griffin, term to expire October 28, 2024.
So move.
Second. Are there any questions? Madam Clerk?
Councilors Williams?
Yes.
Morgan?
Yes.
West?
Abstain.
Jacobs?
Yes.
Mayor Kirkland?
Yes.
Resolution, the Council of the City of Chester does resolve that it does hereby appoint the following individuals as members of the Stormwater Authority of the City of Chester Board, terms to expire as stated. Dobry Green, October 28, 2021, and Joy Taylor, October 28, 2021.
So moved.
I second.
Are there any questions? Madam Clerk?
Councilors Williams?
Yes.
Morgan?
Yes.
West?
Yes.
Jacobs?
Yes.
Mayor Kirkland?
Yes.
Resolution, the Council of the City of Chester does resolve that the City of Chester of Delaware County, Pennsylvania, does hereby request a grant from the Department of Economic Development, DCED, in an amount not to exceed $500,000 to be used for a neighborhood camera initiative. Further, that the applicant does hereby designate Nafis Nichols, Chief Financial Officer, as the official to execute all documents and agreements between the City of Chester and the Department of Community and Economic Development to facilitate and assist in obtaining requested grant.
So moved.
I second.
Are there any questions? Madam Clerk?
Councilors Williams?
Yes.
Morgan?
Yes.
West?
Yes.
Jacobs?
Yes.
Mayor Kirkland?
Yes.
Resolution, whereas Section 511.55 entitled Delegation of Powers of Article 511 of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Chester allows council to designate residential parking permit area or areas by resolution within residential districts. Now therefore, the council of the City of Chester does resolve that it does hereby designate the following areas as residential parking permit areas within the following residential districts. Number 1, west side of 2300 block of Madison Street from Houston Street to dead end at Chester Park. And 2, east side of 2300 block, of Madison Street from Houston Street to 150, I'm assuming this is feet, bearing north. Further, said designated areas are subject to review and amendment at a later date.
So move.
Any questions?
Yes, I do. I thought that, is Mike Galante here, the engineer? I thought it was the 2600 block of Madison Street. So I suggest that we can table this until we get the correct address on here.
Move the table?
Up.
Move the table.
Move the table, this resolution.
Second.
Any questions on tabling? Hearing none. Move the table question. Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Councilors Williams?
Yes.
Morgan?
Yes.
West?
Yes.
Jacobs?
Yes.
Mayor Kirkland?
Yes.
Resolution, the Council of the City of Chester does resolve that it does hereby amend the resolution passed by Chester City Council on January 22nd, 2020 to read as follows. That it does hereby grant permission and authorize the issuance of a road opening permit to PICO for the installation of 3,170 linear feet of gas main on the following streets within the City of Chester in accordance with the documents on file in the City Engineer's Office. Number 1, State Route 3005, Flower Street. Number 2, State Route 0291, Route 291. Number 3, West 7th Street. Number 4, West 6th Street. And number 5, Central Avenue. Further, said permit is contingent upon all work being performed in a manner that is satisfactory to City Council and PICO's compliance with all of the following conditions as outlined by the City Engineer. Number 1, PICO performs a half-width mill and overlay on city streets upon completion of the work. However, some work may require a full-width mill and overlay depending on the extent of the openings. Number 2, all work that impacts sidewalks within cities right-of-way shall be replaced with new concrete sidewalks, and ADA accessible curb ramps were required by the City Engineer. Number 3, PICO contractor provides traffic control flaggers to ensure a continuous operation of city streets. Number 4, the PICO main installation along Flower Street will impact the operation of the soccer stadium on game days. PICO will need to coordinate and have contingencies within their contract so that work will not take place on game days and roadways will be 100% operational. Number 5, PICO will need to obtain a highway occupancy permit, HOP, from PennDOT.
So moved.
Second.
Are there any questions? Madam Clerk?
Yes.
Councilors Williams?
Yes.
Morgan?
Yes.
West?
Yes.
Jacobs?
Yes.
Mayor Kirkland?
Yes.
Resolution, whereas in about 1939, the city of Chester organized the Chester Municipal Authority under the Municipality Authorities Act, which entity is now known as the Chester Water Authority. And whereas litigation is ongoing regarding to the city's interest in the water system assets, and the city is committed to understanding the right course of action for the city as soon as the legal dispute over the rights of the city under the Municipality Authorities Act is finally resolved. And whereas the city has determined it is in its best interest to explore whether to follow the process established by the General Assembly to potentially monetize assets of the Chester Water Authority. And whereas a request for proposal was issued on June 12, 2019, after an action of this council, but due to litigation and out of an abundance of caution, all 6 proposals received were recently returned to the offerers without having been opened, other than to identify the person to whom they should be returned. And whereas the Delaware County Court of Common Pleas on February 3, 2020 entered an order that permits the issuance of a request for proposals and the city to undertake a bid process, provided that after such process, any agreement or other transaction, if any, is subject to resolution of the common pleas matter before a transaction can finally close. And whereas the city has requested the cooperation of the Chester Water Authority in this process, and the Chester Water Authority has not provided any other requested information and assistance. Now therefore intended to be legally bond, the City Council of the City of Chester resolves as follows. Resolved, the city determines that its interests include the city's financial stability, securing a healthy and affordable water supply for its residents, neighbors, and businesses, and reasonably protecting the interests of other critical stakeholders, such as the men and women who do the hard work at the Chester Water Authority. And be it further resolved, the city should explore the possible conveyance of the project of the Chester Water Authority, termination of the Chester Water Authority, and or the sale of the assets of such authority. And be it further resolved that the city should pursue a final legal resolution of its rights under the Municipality Authorities Act before the Common Pleas Court and in compliance with the order of February 3rd. Before this, the city will close on any final transfer or plan to transfer, if any, and be it further resolved that the expression of intent in this resolution is intended to be short of and shall not constitute an expression of a desire to finally transfer the assets to the city within the meaning of Section 22A of the Municipality Authorities Act 53 PA CS Section 5622A. And be it further resolved that in the interest of understanding its rights and whether it is in the interest of the city and the relevant stakeholders that the city pursue a conveyance, the city should issue a request for proposal for the water system assets. And be it further resolved that the mayor shall promulgate or shall cause city personnel to promulgate a request for proposals in the form that he determines is appropriate. And be it further resolved that following the receipt of proposals, the mayor shall be authorized to pursue such a transaction to the extent he deems appropriate, provided that any transaction be returned to the council for approval of any agreement or other plan that establishes the final disposition of such assets.
So moved. Second.
I second.
Can we hold a minute?
There are some concerns, yeah.
All right, the resolution that I just read is actually number 14
On the agenda.
on the agenda. My pack has it in a different spot. I do apologize for that.
Yeah. So are there any questions? The question is, and comment is that we are going to move on item number 14, and then we'll go in the correct order as we proceed. But if there are any questions concerning item number 14, you're free to ask those questions at this time. Hearing or seeing none? Madam Clerk?
Councilors Williams?
Yes.
Morgan?
Yes.
West?
Yes.
Jacobs?
Yes.
Mayor Kirkland?
Yes.
Just to be clear, did you want to say it there? What's number 10?
Right there.
This is the first one. Yeah. That's that. And this is actually number. Okay, so what number is this? Is this in the right order?
You already read it. Yes, you already read it. That's what you read as 10.
Oh, it's in here twice?
Take it out. Take it out.
Just take it.
Oh, okay.
So now she goes back to 10.
So I just read which number?
10.
No, but in what order was it? Say it.
10 is
9,
No.
14. I just want to make sure I'm not missing nothing. 15, 16. Okay.
This is 10, kids.
No, I had an extra one. And I just wanted to make sure I wasn't missing something because I had. Resolution, whereas the City of Chester has received funding from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development under the Community Development Block Grant, CDBG program. And whereas the City of Chester desires to amend the fiscal year 2019 action plan to add the Pulaski School remediation and demolition project. And now, therefore, the Council of the City of Chester does resolve that it does hereby authorize the Chester Economic Development Authority, CEDA, to take the appropriate steps to ensure that the requirements for public notification are met and to advertise the attached notice of revision to the fiscal year 2019 action plan.
So moved.
I second.
Are there any questions? Madam Clerk?
Councilors Williams?
Yes.
Morgan?
Yes.
West?
Yes.
Jacobs?
Yes.
Mayor Kirkland?
Yes.
Resolution, whereas the City of Chester intends to submit an application for funding under the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development's HUD Community Development Block Grant, CDBG program, and Home Investment Partnerships Home Program. And whereas one of the requirements of these programs is to inform the citizens of the City of Chester regarding the city's intended uses for the funds requested from HUD under the CDBG and home programs. And whereas HUD requires that the City of Chester, once every 5 years, prepare a 5-year consolidated plan that outlines the current conditions of the city and the range and priority of needs to which the city expects to allocate its annual appropriation of CDBG and home funds. And whereas the City of Chester is preparing a draft of the fiscal year 2020 through 2024 consolidated plan and a draft of the fiscal year 2020 CDBG and home action plan, which identifies the projects and program activities on which the program year 2020 CDBG and home funds are proposed to be spent. And whereas in conjunction with the preparation of the draft consolidated plan and action plan, the city is preparing a draft of an analysis of impediments to fair housing choice, which serve to identify barriers to fair housing in the city and to create goals to address such barriers. Now, therefore, the Council of the City of Chester does resolve that it authorizes the Chester Economic Development Authority, CEDA, to take the appropriate steps to ensure that the requirements for public notification are met and to advertise the availability of the draft 2020 through 2024 Consolidated Plan, the draft 2020 CDBG and Home Action Plan, and the draft analysis of impediments to fair housing choice in accordance with the appropriate federal regulations.
So moved.
I second.
Are there any questions? Madam Clerk?
Councilors Williams?
Yes.
Morgan?
Yes.
West?
Yes.
Jacobs?
Yes.
Mayor Kirkland?
Yes.
Resolution, the council of the city of Chester does resolve that it does hereby authorize the purchase of 2 trucks in as is condition from Harry Brumall, otherwise known as Brumall's, Department of Parks, Public Property and Recreation, not to exceed a total of $6,000. Further, it does hereby authorize the proper city official to take all necessary actions for the proper purchase of the following vehicles. Number 1, a 2007 Toyota Tacoma truck, VIN number 414089. And number 2, a 2011 Chevy Silverado truck, VIN number 358025.
So moved.
I second.
Are there any questions? Madam Clerk?
Councilors Williams?
Yes.
Morgan?
Yes.
West?
Yes.
Jacobs?
Yes.
Mayor Kirkland?
Yes.
Resolution, the council of the city of Chester does resolve that it does hereby ratify entering into an electricity supply agreement with Constellation New Energy Incorporated for the purchase and supply of electricity at the fixed rate contract price of .04227 per kilowatt hour beginning February 2020 in accordance with the terms and conditions set forth in said agreement. Further, the chief financial officer is hereby authorized to execute the necessary documents for and on behalf of the city of Chester. Further, said agreement is contingent upon final review and approval of the city solicitor.
So moved.
I second.
Are there any questions? Madam Clerk?
Councilors Williams?
Yes.
Morgan?
Yes.
West?
Yes.
Jacobs?
Yes.
Mayor Kirkland?
Yes.
Resolution, the council of the city of Chester does resolve that it does hereby engage the services of Dilworth Paxson LLP as bond counsel when requested for the city's general obligation refunding bond series 2020 and pension obligation bonds of 2020 in accordance with the engagement letter dated February 2020. Further, that it does hereby authorize the execution of the engagement letter by the proper city official. Further, said agreement is contingent upon final approval of the city solicitor.
So moved.
I second.
Are there any questions? Madam Clerk?
Councilors Williams?
Yes.
Morgan?
Yes.
West?
Yes.
Jacobs?
Yes.
Mayor Kirkland?
Yes.
Resolution, the council of the city of Chester does resolve that it does approve and order payment of a series of bills and refunds as prepared by the Department of Accounts and Finance and is shown on expenditure approval list dated February 3rd, 2020, attached hereto and made a part hereof, subject to approval from the Department of Accounts and Finance.
So moved.
I second.
Are there any questions? Madam Clerk?
Councilors Williams?
Yes.
Morgan?
Yes.
West?
Yes.
Jacobs?
Yes.
Mayor Kirkland?
Yes. Madam Clerk, before you move to the ordinances, Councilwoman, I think Mr. Galante is here.
Yes. Mr. Block? We need to change it to the 2600 block.
So we can reread the resolution and put the 2,600 block.
Okay. So can we, Madam Clerk, reread the resolution that deals with residential parking? And I believe that's number 8.
Yes.
26.
And instead of 2300 block of Madison?
2600?
Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome. Resolution, whereas section 511.55 entitled Delegation of Powers of Article 511 of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Chester allows council to designate residential parking permit areas or area by resolution within residential districts. Now therefore the council of the City of Chester does resolve that it does hereby designate the following areas as residential parking permit areas within the following residential districts. Number 1, west side of 2600 block of Madison Street from Houston Street to Dead End at Chester Park. And number 2, east side of 2600 block of Madison Street from Houston Street to 150 feet bearing north. Further, said designated areas are subject to review and amendment at a later date.
So moved.
I second.
Are there any questions? Madam Clerk?
Councilors Williams?
Yes.
Morgan?
Yes.
West?
Yes.
Jacobs?
Yes.
Mayor Kirkland?
Yes.
Bill number 1, first reading was on January 8th, 2020. Ordinance number 1 of 2020, an ordinance of the City of Chester, Delaware County, Pennsylvania, amending various subsections of Article 1746 entitled Defaulted Mortgage Property of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Chester, 1978, as supplemented and amended to provide for the additional intent and purpose of requiring the registration and maintenance of certain real property by owners or mortgagees, providing for penalties and enforcement, as well as the regulation, limitation, and reduction of registrable real property within the City of Chester, providing for the severability, repealer, codification, and effective date, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances inconsistent therewith.
I move that we pass Bill number 1 on its last and final reading.
I second that we pass bill number 1 on its last and final reading.
Are there any questions? Madam Clerk?
Councilors Williams?
Yes.
Morgan?
Yes.
West?
Yes.
Jacobs?
Yes.
Mayor Kirkland?
Yes.
Bill number 2, an ordinance of the City of Chester, Delaware County, Pennsylvania, deleting in its entirety subsection 503.09 entitled Administration and Adjudication of Parking Violations of the Codified Ordinances of the City of Chester, 1978, as supplemented and amended, replacing it with a new subsection 503.09 to remove installment payments of parking penalties, revise notice provisions, remove hearings by telephone and for written testimony, remove violation descriptions and penalty, provide for immobilization and towing, and repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances inconsistent therewith.
I move that we pass Bill number 2 on its first reading.
I second that we pass bill number 2 on its first reading.
Are there any questions? Madam Clerk?
Councilors Williams?
Yes.
Morgan?
Yes.
West?
Yes.
Jacobs?
Yes.
Mayor Kirkland?
Yes. Thank you, Madam Clerk.
You're welcome.
At this time, we have a swearing in of new police officer, Mr. Thomas Jeremichaelis. I know it's gonna mess that up. I, Thomas Jeremichaelis,
I, Thomas Jeremichaelis,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support,
that I will support,
obey,
obey,
and defend
and defend
the Constitution
the Constitution
of the United States of
of the
America,
United States of America,
the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania,
of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania,
and the Charter
and the Charter
of the City of Chester,
of the City of Chester,
and that I will discharge
discharge
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of police officer
of a police officer
with fidelity.
with fidelity. any all the officer comments. I first off wanted to thank everyone who's been a part of getting me to this point and giving me the opportunity to protect and serve the good people of Chester. Thank you all very much. God bless.
I know, he was pushing me over.
You want me to get off of it? At this time, we'll call on Commissioner Rigby for some recognitions.
Good morning, everyone. We have two recognitions of two departments in public safety that we'd like to do today. And before I begin, I just want to thank Chief Egan from Crozier Chester Paramedics, who has his staff here today. They often go unrecognized, but they provide EMS service for the city. In excess of 10,000 calls a year. That's a lot of calls here in the city, and Chief Egan and his staff does a wonderful job. Thank you. So I'll cut right to that one. And I guess you want to bring up paramedic Cheryl Lay and paramedic EMT Chris Thornton. On December 15th of 2019, a MICU 82 was dispatched to 1137 Madison Street for hypertension. Upon arriving at the scene, they started patient care when the CO alarm on their first in bag activated. They recognized their patient was suffering from CO exposure and evacuated the apartment. They then requested the fire department to respond. City of Chester Company 82 arrived and found high levels of CO in all 6 apartments. 3 patients were transported from the scene by EMS for CO exposure. Another resident went to CCMC by private vehicle. All the residents were found to be suffering from CO exposure. PICO was notified, and we quickly found the source of the CO to be a direct vent hot water heater in an apartment. They secured and was ventilated by the fire department. I would like to recognize the action of Cheryl Lynn Lay and Chris Thornton's quick actions. They prevented additional injury and possible fatalities the rest of the residents of the building. We'll read the other two, and then we'll bring everybody up together. And our last, the other letter of commendation we have today is for our police department. And I'd like to thank Commissioner Blair and his command staff, and that they assist us day in and day out, and we're there to assist them. And on the night of January 18th, companies were dispatched for a building fire in the 1200 block of Honan Street for a reported building fire with entrapment. Upon arrival, officers D. Silvestro and Officer Pownell found the entire house engulfed with heavy black smoke and fire. The residents, a young mother and her 3 children, were on the roof of the home and yelling for help. Officers D. Silvestro and Officer Pownell quickly found a ladder from a neighbor's home and went to the roof and rescued all the mother and all her children. Once on the ground, they immediately tended to the victims. Officer D. Silvestro covered one victim in his patrol jacket to protect from the extreme cold. I'd like to recognize the actions for their heroic and life-saving actions, Officers D. Silvestro and Officer Pownell.
You just gotta make another copy of it. Probably, city clerk.
Yeah, this is all me. Your stuff?
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your service to the Chester community, for all that you do. We appreciate it. Also, I want to recognize a intern, third-year Drexel Law student who is interning with our solicitor's office, and particularly with Mr. Ken Schuster. And her name is Christine Casey. Christine, stand on up. We can- Thank you and welcome. At this time, we'll open up the microphone once again for public comments. If you have public comments, we ask that you go to the microphone, you state your name, your address, and your public comments. Because there are so many persons here today, we ask that you would limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Okay, my name is Marcella Singleton.
My name is Monte Singleton. I just opened up a shop.
Give me 1 minute. There's a lot of movement going on, and I need to be able to hear you. Can you bear with me for a minute, please?
We're Monte and Marcella Singleton.
They're going this way.
Yeah, just wait till they leave.
Yeah,
so we
they're going out this way.
That's one of the officers that violated my rights.
Those same officers that were just honored violated his civil rights, and so now they're leaving. This is an outrage.
We're going to listen to you.
And
Those-
they do
those-
charge
He did
No,
not.
we're-
He was not read his Miranda rights or
And
and it's
anything.
all on camera.
I'm gonna say, we're gonna ask you for your name, your address, and you will be able to make your public comments.
Okay. All right. My name is Marcella Singleton, and this is my son Monte Singleton. We live at 207 South Fifth Street. My son has a business here for the past 2 months in the city of Chester, at 2200 West Second Street. I'm sorry, 2200 West Second Street. It's an auto mechanic shop.
And body.
Auto mechanic and body shop he has there. And on February the 10th, he was racially profiled by your Chester Department police officers here, racially profiled. His civil rights were denied, was violated, and there's no one being held accountable for this. What are you all going to do to have sensitivity training for these officers? What is the discipline? I see that there's no discipline. These officers that just violated his civil rights were just honored here. What discipline will they receive after this?
They on camera.
They're on
The
camera. We
sheriff-
have camera with a video of all of this.
The sergeant that was there, was they on camera. The cop that you just gave the certificate to, the sheriff asked him, what can we charge him with? Is on camera. He's saying, oh, my cuffs is on him, or we can charge him with resisting arrest. Like, they pinned up charges on me. They was on private property. Everything is on
Came
video
up
from the
to private
Sunoco.
property.
I asked them guys because they was flashing the light inside of my business from the Sunoco lot. I came outside and I asked them, was everything all right? Is everything's fine? The sergeant immediately got nasty with me and told me, stay right there, pointing at me with no respect. Stay right there, I'll be over there. He came out of Sunoco and drove into my gate. He's standing there looking right now. He knows he's wrong.
They're wrong. They all
Yeah, he
know that
came
they're
around,
wrong.
came
They
into
all know.
my shop. threw me on the ground,
harassed
tased me
him.
twice in front of my daughter. My daughter is screaming. They pointing
They
flashlights in my
flashed the
daughter's eyes.
lights in her
They
eyes.
threatened to arrest a 9-year-old, my daughter. A 9-year-old. The
for
only reason she
asking,
was there is
"Please
because
don't
my
hurt
wife
my
was
dad."
working late.
Please
And I
don't
had to
hurt
keep
my
her there
dad.
while I was working. And I want to know what
Why they out
are we
here?
going
Why
to
they
do
not
about
in
this?
here? Why did they
Like,
leave?
what is the actions on this?
This is an outrage.
Let me,
Where are they? I came to your office too, Mr. Kirkland.
I'm sorry. What was your address again?
207 South Fifth Street, Darby, PA, 19023.
But I have a shop in Chester, 2200 West 2nd Street.
No, that's fine. When she said south, I knew it wasn't Chester, so I was trying to get the address correct.
Yeah.
Okay, Darby, you said?
Yes.
Right. All right, thank you.
Number one, you do know this is under investigation. So
Nobody,
is
we
it-
tried to, with the
We
news
tried
and
to
I
let me-
came and tried to comment to the police
No
and
one
y'all
is
denied
commenting,
everything.
No one, you know, I went
So
to
how
your
we supposed
office
to
a
know
couple
what's under
times yesterday,
investigation
Mr.
as besides
Mr.
what we're
Kirkland.
doing?
No one talked to me
It
there.
is so
I'm-
hard, it is so hard to understand
wall.
or hear you because you're both talking at the same time.
Okay, we
And
came
then-
to you
and
guys
then-
yesterday.
And then when I try to respond, you cut me off.
Go ahead. You got the floor, go ahead. I'm
I
listening.
appreciate that. I really do. First of all, it is under investigation. It is a police matter, it is a legal matter that has to go through the legal process. There's nothing I or anybody else can do once it starts through the legal process.
Okay. Okay. That's it, okay.
Sir, may I say something? Ma'am? Excuse me, ma'am. I'd like to say something. My name is Commissioner Otis Blair. I am the Commissioner of Chester Police Department. That beat me fine. I've been off. I've been sick for the last couple of days. So I'm here today. I will assure you that this matter will be properly investigated. Policy-wise and procedurally-wise, we will look at it, we will review the video. We will review the video that we have access to. If there are multiple videos, I would like, if it's possible.
Can I speak with you after this?
Yes, ma'am, I would gladly speak with you. But understand, there are procedures that have to be followed. Most of this matter I cannot discuss because of open investigation. There's an open criminal matter, okay? Now, let me finish. If there is any wrongdoing, can I finish, please? As the mayor eloquently stated, there's a procedure that has to be followed. If there's anything that is against our policy or procedure, we will address it, as we always do. Sir, that is up for a court to
Commissioner.
decide. But I will assure you that we will look at this matter, we will be very transparent, as we always have, and we will address it.
Commissioner, that needs to go that way.
Flip side.
There's some, thank you.
Channel 6, Action News.
Good morning, Mayor, Council, and audience. My name is
morning.
Barbara Moore. I live at 714 Lloyd Street, Chester, PA. On January the 3rd, a city truck knocked down my awning. Okay, on January the 6th, I did contact Portia West about this, and I didn't get much talking to her because she was on her way to the sworn-in ceremony. Okay, I did contact a gentleman named Al from AAA to repair my awning. And I gave him Portia West's number. I gave him the city's number over here. He called about 3 times, left voicemails and everything, and he got no response from him. I had called several times myself, and left voicemails and got no response. Finally, I got a response from Portia West, and she was very upset about this herself. And also, the day that she called me, I finally got a call from the solicitor's office. And I was a little irritable myself, so I did come off in a rational way. I can admit that. Because I don't think it should take this long for somebody to get back in touch with somebody about damage to their property. And I think that's intolerable. It really is. And also, when I did talk to Portia West, she told me to get 3 estimates. I mean, did it hurt anybody to give me a call to tell me to go about to get the 3 estimates to bring in? What about the solicitor? I left voicemails there also. I mean, this is a little ridiculous. So finally, someone, like I say, called me on the 7th, after I talked to Portia West. About 3 p.m., I guess she went and got a hold of somebody and got on them. And like I say, I was a little hostile. Yes, I was. Because I don't think it should take this long for somebody to get back in touch with me about damage. Am I right or wrong?
You're absolutely right. And what had happened was that you and I did talk to the guy from, what is it, AAA?
Yes.
He and I did speak, but I told him, see, what we do when we have an incident like that in my department, we'll get all the information together from the driver, his supervisor, and we got the police report, and we sent the packet over to the solicitor's office, okay? That's what we do. And then what I told the guy from AAA is that it's, had been turned over to our solicitor's office for handling, And so I can't speak to why you weren't contacted or anything like that. But but then when I called you, I did call you because I know you had gotten the 1 estimate, because you and I talked more than one time.
Yes.
Okay. And I suggested, I recommended to you that you get 3 estimates.
Yes.
Right. So.
Well, so far I have 2. I'm waiting for the 3rd one to come in.
And, I know it seems like a long time, but,
I don't think
the
these
matter
things
has
should
been
take
turned.
that long, and I think the insurance company or whoever you're dealing with should have came out and looked at the property at least before now.
Well,
It's not taking that long.
I
I
don't know.
mean, we've had damage done to the house before, and homeowners insurance, they was out in 3 days.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good
Thank you
morning.
for coming. Ken Schuster, City Solicitor. Unfortunately, this is a self-insured matter, so we do need 3 estimates, and we will promptly address. You have 2. If you give them to me today, that may be sufficient.
I have 2 with me.
I'll meet you after the meeting. I'll review them, and council and mayor, I may make a recommendation that it's unnecessary to get a 3rd estimate,
Okay.
although that is typical and standard. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
And also, I would like to say something else. I'm 77 years old and I need a job. Now, you can hire me for 3 days a week and I can sit and listen to the phone, write down voicemails and not return calls and sit there and drink my coffee. So can I get a job?
Would
Now,
that,
now, Barbara, you and I'm very responsive to you.
Yes,
know.
you are.
I am always
But
responsive to you.
I'm talking about the solicitor office or whoever's taking these voicemails and not returning calls. So I can do that and sit there all day and drink my coffee. Thank you very much.
you're welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name's Dolores Wilson Bailey. I live at 608 West 14th Street in Chester. I live in a flood zone. January 19, 2019, my house was paid off. Around March 2019, I got a notice that my flood insurance is $3,846. I don't understand that. My neighbor that lives 4 doors down from me, closer to the water, her flood insurance is $1,800. Before Mayor Kirkland, they had a grant. They came down in our community, and they did all this dredging and everything, which was great because we haven't had a flood since. But why am I stuck with paying $3,842 of flood insurance? So I don't know what to do, so I came to you. I contacted Representative Kirkland's office. They told me to come here. So I need help.
I'm gonna have a long talk with him. No. Listen, that is, it might just be a matter of changing insurance companies. It might be.
It's FEMA.
FEMA, that's what it is.
They say you can't get no cheaper than FEMA.
FEMA.
And they don't want to hear it.
And so you have a neighbor that is paying half of what you're paying?
Yes,
with
and she
FEMA?
said she complained about it, and they told her she had to hire somebody to come out and reevaluate the property, and that's gonna cost $600 or $700. Why doesn't FEMA come out, and reevaluate the community and see what's going on? We haven't had a flood for 5 years, thank God, but I don't think I should be the only one paying $3,800.
Unfortunately, that is a federal issue. However, if you would just be around a little bit, we will see if we can try to make a phone call to be of help. We'll
Thank
try.
you so much.
You're welcome.
She gotta go to the state.
Before anyone else comes to the mic, I was trying to figure out who this young lady was that came in. Don't leave me here. This young lady who came in the door then, because I was kind of looking down and looking up. And then I realized who she was. She is someone who, I would say, cut her teeth on persons like myself, her educational teeth on persons like myself and Livia Smith and others. And she was our Angela Davis of the day. As a matter of fact, the school district was telling us that we were not going to be able to have our class day for some strange reason or whatever. And we were upset as students. We were so upset, we were contemplating walking out and marching over to the administration building. And this young lady who had cut her teeth on us as an educator stood up and said, if you're going to stand up for something, basically get to stepping and stand up for it. And she taught us how, she didn't just teach us the science, but she taught us how to fight. And she's here with us today, and I am so glad to see you.
Yes, yes.
Miss Miss Palm, come on.
Yes, yes.
And those were the days that they had carte blanche to tear us up. And we appreciate it today, because if we were not corrected in the fashion and the manner that teachers like yourself did, we would not be where we are today. So we thank you, we thank you, we thank you for all that you've done for us in the past and everything you're doing on this day. Ms. Palmer, I want you to introduce your family member.
I'd like to introduce, first of all, my beautiful mother. And this is a niece of mine, one of my 82,000 nieces. I'd like to introduce my sister, Bola Johnson. Stand up. And of course, I retired a couple years ago from a job with juvenile probation. And I work with those kids on special programs, special community service type programs, where kids were allowed to make decisions and learn how to work with each other rather than community service being pick up trash and do that, because you don't. It does nothing to change how you think about yourself or the world. So they did service by, they figured out what they needed to do to help change the community, and we allowed them to do that. That was a kind of innovative approach to juvenile probation community service. But I just like to say, I wouldn't have been able to do that had it not been for you and all of the young brothers and sisters and kids that trained me. You trained me. I was a very young kid. You trained me how to work with you. So thank you.
Thank you. And just so you know how important Showalter Junior High was to us and you were to us, Miss Smith, Showalter Junior High School, Showalter Junior High. In our halls of learning, we'll keep our banner high. Black and red will forge ahead. In our knowledge we have led in historic Chester. Hail Showalter, hail. Thank you. Mr. Celine, come on. I want you to follow that, Mr. Celine.
Let me see.
Peace be unto you. Yes, beautiful song. I don't recall it, but yeah. It has a certain ring to it. Certainly, it's somewhere I've heard it, and it's somewhere there here in my mind. Yes, Showalter. You know, we want to reap what we have sown. You know, we have sown good. We want to be able to develop the good in which we have been after for so long. So we want to bring this to the forefront. My name is Amin Abdul Salim. I live 240 Patterson Street. So one of the things, if I may share with you very briefly, that Jesus has said, he said that to some, he said that I have lived a whole lifetime among you, and you did not know who I was. I have lived a whole lifetime among you, and you did not know me. Meaning that he was making some efforts long time before people knew that there was efforts to be made. He was fighting a fight that before people knew that they had a fight to fight. Certainly, they felt in their soul that this is not where they're supposed to be at, and it's a difference. There is something else. So I say that to say that I'm not just popping up. I've been here a long time. So by the mercy and grace of God, we are grateful, thankful that God is allowing us to realize some of the efforts that we have made being materialized. So we want the bottom line, I don't want to go on and on, to put these in good form. I'm hearing the word transformation, surely, the excellent form. And that there's a effort against the excellent form coming about, preventing it from coming about. And I'm sure that you have heard Antichrist, If Jesus said there will come a time that the healing, all this illness and ailments and sickness and all this stuff is going to be going out. It's time for it to go out. And there are, of course, those who do not want to go out because their livelihood and their thing is in the illness, of the world and society. Antichrist. totally against what Jesus Christ actually said. Now, who want that? This is a very delicate and sensitive subject in which we're trying to embark upon. And it's going to take more than just, just this brief moment here. It's going to take a few commentaries here to really get us into this effectively in a way that we we want to be in it. God said he's going to open some mouth and close some mouth, and they will say only that which is right. There's too many people talking trash. Stuff with law, excuse my expression. There's too many people talking trash. There's too many people talking lies, deceit. Prophet Muhammad said, beware of them, that they are liars. So I see, if I may, very briefly, I see the elderly gentleman. I don't know the names and all, and the presidents and all this other stuff. I don't, it seemed like the, what's his name? The Mr. Sanders. Our parents there look like that they just, people, their hearts are changing. They see the grandpa image, sincere. But the people want this good. They want this good. We want healing, So this, as we leave from this point and we go into the next couple of few, then we're going to, God said, if all the trees on the earth were pens, and all the oceans was ink, it said they would be exhausted before the words of your Lord were. If all the trees on earth were pens and all the oceans was ink, they would be exhausted first. We just on just a little bit of what God has for us. We don't want to stop. We do not want the Antichrist to just stop us in just little material life, thing. And we have a large distance to go. We have to have the courage and the determination. There's quite a bit and I don't want to get up here ever. Our Imam Wartadin Muhammad, the son of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, said, he said, life is the final battlefield. Life proper, not just artificial life and many names that they give it to it, artificial intelligence and this and that. No, God wants us to come with the real healing, with the real life, the real healing. So I won't venture to stretch anything. I just, be patient. God said himself. God is doing this himself, and he's doing it with us. And by doing it with us, he's given us the ability to see what he's doing, his hand working, so that we can speak to others and operate like that. But he said gradually. I pray, sir. I just simply did not want to leave anything out that was important up until next time or something.
I thank you, and I appreciate you, Mr. Salim.
I appreciate it, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Council. Thank you.
We'll have the Deputy Commissioner's report.
That's correct, Mayor Curtin. Good morning, members of City Council. What I'll be reading off is the 2019 final report. It's the statistics for the City of Chester Police Department from January 1st until December 31st. Calls for service, 62,134. Part 1 crimes reported, 1,778. Arrest, 2,272. Out of that number, 134 were juvenile arrests. Firearms recovered, 169. The Detective Division issued 88 arrest warrants, 93 search warrants, and 1 court order search. Narcotics Division made 213 arrests and recovered 67 of the 169 firearms, executed numerous search warrants, and there were a total of 1,965 traffic citations issued.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you.
Daphne. Thank you. Unfortunately, we're a very busy city. Go ahead, Fire Commissioner.
I have a same report for 2019, if you will. Our total calls of service for the year were 2798, which of those 65 were building fires, confirmed working fires, 43 vehicle fires, 300 assists to EMS, and 275 motor vehicle accidents. That's the meat and potatoes of it. And the other thing I noted in the other thing is 10,000 EMS calls in the city. And there's more of those for assists, so that's all.
Very good.
Thanks.
We want to thank both our police department and our fire department for the service that they provide to our communities. Seeing no other one at the podium, we now declare this council meeting adjourned.